Throughout the many generations, there has been a cultural divide between Native Africans and African Americans. This divide has been influenced by many factors such as European colonization, the ratifications of slavery, and the lack of culture education. When Africans first came to the United States through slavery, they were forced to forget everything they knew about their African culture, from the language to the way they lived their lives. Now, we live in a time where African American men and women are starting to embrace their African heritage and aren't afraid to be a descendant from Africa. They are even going as far as taking a DNA test to find out where in Africa that they are from. The only problem is Native Africans and African Americans are having a hard time getting along with coming together. But why?
So one of the problems that I think that Africans and American and African from the continent had to come together, that has really to do with the stereotypes that each of us hold of each other. And by stereotype I mean the image that the media has been portraying for so long about African Americans and Africans. Like from the African American side, the image that Africa is in poverty, is in war, they have Ebola, they have all these problems, and not knowing that there is a urban life going there. There are family, there are people who are actually happy. And from the African side, thinking that Africans Americans are all about hip hop music, are all about being cool, or even the selling drugs, going to prison story, kind of. Those stereotypes has been for so long portrayed in the media. That's really kind of, people are still stuck in those ideas when they meet with each other, and that's where the division kind of starts from. To fix that challenge, I think it's pretty easy. It's just the willingness to stepping out of your comfort zone, being curious about, okay, let me put all the stereotypes from the side and let me meet that person for who they are and what are their ambitions, what intellectual level they're, what are they inspiring to be, and just meeting people for who they are instead of relying to what television, social media, all this stuff has been portraying about each other. Like really stepping out and get out of your own community and like meet the world as for what it truly is.
So, to break the cycle of judging one another and believing in the stereotypes about one another, African and African American students at Indiana State University decided to get together to talk about the issues between the two cultures. Ms. Val, the assistant director of the African American Culture Center, hosted the event called Black Thought. Black Thought is an event held in the Culture Center every month. The purpose of the event is for students to talk about issues that arise in the Black community and ways we can make a change in the Black community. The students talked about things from stereotypes about African and African Americans to relationships between the two cultures. At the end of the day, both cultures realized that they had more in common than they thought.
And then I got two hats, right there. Does that go backwards?
No, you didn't. Let me talk.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in response to the whole color as a mental thing, I think people often think that our identity is what we say it is. But I think as people of color especially, we balance or manage three different kinds of identities. That kind of brings it together. It's the identity that we say we have, that we are, I am, and then we have the identity that people place on us, so they see us for our color first. And then we have the identity that history says we have. So balancing that, it's kind of I guess you would look at it as kind of like an extra burden that people of color carry. So it's not just a mental thing, because it's an identity thing.
At the end of the event, students were also pleased by what had happened, what they discussed, and was more comfortable and open with talking about issues such as this.
I really enjoyed my time here at the Black Thought because I was able to see perspective of Africans from different areas of Africa, not just, for example, Liberia or just Nigeria. I've heard different things because, thank you, how do you know that African, they have different customs? Just like I know a lot of African Americans here, you may be African American, maybe Black, but we still grew up in different households. testimonies. Oh, and by the way, I am full Indian. I forgot to add that. But something that I would like to see more is more events, more socializing between the African Americans, because yes, we are different. We do have differences, but in ways we have such similarities that many of us do not know unless we have talked to